Are you listening carefully? Then I'll begin. The latest from Podnews.net with the podcast show, the new International Festival for Podcasting in London this May. More listeners pay attention to podcast advertising than ads on TV or radio, according to new UK research from The Guardian. Podcast advertising also has a multiplier effect when used in combination with other advertising media. The podcast show, the new International Festival for Podcasting in London this May, has announced its first 100 speakers, including The Receipts, Jonathan Wall from BBC Sounds, Miranda Sawyer from The Observer, Jane Garvey and Fee Glover from Fortunately with Fee and Jane, Nihal from Radio 5 Live, and many more. And get ready for another 250 names being announced in the coming weeks. You can book your day pass from £55. Use promo code PODNEWS for 20% off a limited number of passes. We're a media partner and we'll be there. Who was the first independent podcaster to turn a podcast into a TV show? We asked that question yesterday, and Aaron Mankey reminded us that his show Law holds the title of the first TV show based directly on an indie podcast. It went live on Amazon Prime in October 2017. We should know, we reported it in August. Other indie podcasts turned TV shows include Limetown, The Midnight Gospel and Archive 81, and podcasts from bigger networks include The Ricky Gervais Show and Comedy Bang Bang. We've linked to a Wikipedia list of podcast adaptations which we've edited today to add dates to, and we'd love you to add others on there. And we should know better to ask questions about TV shows when we don't watch too much TV. We've amended the post from yesterday, and genuinely sorry that it upset so many people on Twitter. After launching in Mexico 2 years ago, podcast company Acast has launched in Spain. Megan Davies, the company's international managing director, gives some insight into the Spanish market, the different genres and the apps that people use there. Writing in Variety, Jem Aswad is highly critical of Spotify's $310 million sponsorship of FC Barcelona, which they announced on Tuesday. Aswad suggests that the company has a lack of self-awareness that evidently goes all the way to the top. Spotify's share price is near a 2-year low. Podcast publisher Blue Wire is selling podcast ads for sports podcasts of newspapers The Miami Herald and the Kansas City Star. It's the second deal they've made with newspaper company sports shows. Media player Winamp is back. In June, at least. The app, owned by Target Sports owner Audio Valley, has a new logo and has launched an NFT initiative. Podcast network Noiser has hit 6 million monthly listens, the company says. Last week they launched a paid channel on Apple Podcasts called Noiser Plus. Stitcher has signed with TV executive producer Carlos King for a show about reality TV called Reality with the King. The domain name podcastchart.com is for sale. It's a good one. We know the seller. Seems a good domain to launch a product to us. Podstock is a new podcast conference and the first in New Jersey history, the company says. Sonant has launched a new AI-powered tool for audio and video monetization, including something that automatically matches podcast content with IAB categories. Memento, a podcast app letting you save your favorite moments from shows, has added a new Discover feature, allowing you to skim through moments and topics. iHeartRadio has launched Pod Guides, a podcast discovery platform with podcasts about specific places. It reminds me of Maps.fm. I'm an advisor for that, and it's a similar platform with many more podcasts available. And Nick Panama from Salt Audio writes that podcasts have a brand problem, not a hit problem, pointing out that the New York Times has grown to be a fully integrated audio media brand. And thank you to Daniel J. Lewis, who had the audacity to say he didn't like the percussive music bed we've been trying out for the last few episodes under this bit. It's gone, Daniel. Thanks for the feedback. In People News, Jared Schwartz has been named executive producer for podcasts and audio at CoinDesk, a publisher covering news and events about cryptocurrency. He joins from Himalaya. In podcast news, the Jordan Harbinger show today has Yuri Matsarsky, a Ukrainian journalist turned civilian fighter against the Russian invasion of Ukraine. Since the incursion began, he's been keeping the world updated with events as they happen, as the host of the daily podcast Fighting for Ukraine. We promised this episode earlier in the week, but we promise it's live today. Podland News later today will have an interview with Marty Michael, the CEO of host-read advertising platform Gumball, which recently raised $10 million. And a haiku podcast celebrates Jack Kerouac. Listen, Haiku P. And that's the latest from our newsletter. To read all the stories in full and subscribe for free, we're at podnews.net.